News Talk 1530, KFBK.
It is 4:43 now at KFBK, and it's the time of year for many things. One of them, applications for admission into a UC or CSU school are due November 30th, and with more people applying to colleges, it's really more important than ever to make sure that your application stands out. Well, with some tips on making that application shine is Bill Downing. He's the CEO and founder of the ESM Group. Welcome back to the KFBK studios, Bill.
Hi, Kitty. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I'm glad you could join us.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, well, it's great to have you. And this is very competitive, and if you want to get into the school that you desire, you've really got to make it sing. So what are some ideas?
Well, we'll talk about a mad race today. It's for the students applying for early action or early decision at the November 1 private schools. Deadline tomorrow, preferably by 9 p.m. our time, to get it in by the deadline. But so a lot of kids are scrambling today. But after tomorrow's applications, the UCs and the CSUs become pretty paramount. The CSUs already taking applications. They're up already, so they've been tracking how many they've been getting, looking like they're going to have between 15 and 20% more applicants than a year before. The UCs will start taking applications as soon as tomorrow, and you can submit up until the 30th of November. But don't wait to the last minute, especially when such a big number of kids apply in the last few days. Try and get in by the 15th of November at the latest.
And is there, all right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you about how many actually get in and maybe some specific tips on what the kids and parents can do. Bill Downing is here. We'll conclude this in just a bit. Here it's 4:45 at KFBK, CNCSU, and a fascinating discussion off the air that I'd like to share with our listeners. Bill, I asked you about how competitive it truly was, how many kids who applied were rejected. I guess we'll start there. And you pointed out, for instance, UCLA, very popular school.
So last year, UCLA had 60,000 applications, the most of any of the UCs. But, what was really interesting when you started to break the numbers down was the increase in the number of students from overseas and from out of state. And clearly what's happened recently, and a little bit last year, but we're going to see a lot of it this year. The UCs are going after students who are not from California. We pay $25,000, $26,000. An out-of-stater or a foreign student will pay $50,000, $55,000. So what really kind of struck me as this is finally on the radar is the New York Times ran an article on the 27th of October, basically saying, folks on the East Coast, folks overseas, pay attention because the UCs are now kind of open for business. And so that's unfortunate for our local students. But what it does provide an opportunity for the UCs to make more money, especially in the budget issues that they're having, almost $1 billion over budget. And it is squeezing some of the local kids out of spaces like UC Davis and Santa Cruz and Irvine, and at schools like UCLA where they had 60,000, even more competitive. We think the admissions rate at UCLA this year will be probably around 19%, probably around 70,000 applicants.
Well, Bill, what does someone do, obviously, if they're at a disadvantage because they're not paying out-of-state tuition? What's the most important thing? Is it grade point average? Is it how you present yourself? And what do people have to do? Well,
I think you have a couple of opportunities to really show well. One is on your standardized testing. So if you're applying to the UCs, you can still take the November test and the December test for both the SAT and the ACT. So if you need to bump that score up a little bit, it's not a bad idea to take it again. And the UCs will take your highest, best one sitting. So you're not allowed to super score like at some of the private schools. And I think the other thing that kids tend to forget a little bit about is the quality of the essay. So on the UC application, you get the benefit of writing 2 personal statements. One that talks about the world that you come from, and the other one talking about a leadership or activity that you've been involved with over the last 4 years. These are an opportunity for you to shine, and really maybe if your grades aren't the greatest or your SATs aren't the best, this is an opportunity to let the reader know exactly what you've been through. So those are really important. And I think the last one is, grades are so key. So sophomores and juniors out there who are thinking about applying to the UCs, many of my sophomores and juniors say, "Oh, college is so far away, Billy. I'm not even worried about that." Well, guess what? It's on. It's here, and that B plus is so much more important. If you're looking at the A minus. So if you can get the A or the A minus, go for it. Don't settle for the B plus or for the C plus.
Some good advice there. Well, if you want to learn more about the ESM group from Billy Downing, who is the CEO and founder, we're going to link that to KFBK.com keyword afternoon news. That was fascinating. I'm glad you could come in and also give some tips there, but interesting to learn who we're competing against.
Thanks,
now.
Kitty. Always good to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. It's 4:53 at KFBK.
Hey, Tom.